Greetings, sailors, and here is a totally relevant replay of mine, bang up to date, absolutely on the ball with all the new stuff that has come out and all the new content. Yep, it's the California, brand new ship. Bet you've never seen this play before. Well, actually, to be fair, you probably haven't seen many replays of this because after it came out, after people realised just how mediocre to bad this ship was, everybody kind of forgot about it and nobody really plays it. And as to why I was playing it, I think this was while I was trying to get a game in the Hyuga, and I was just randomly looking around at the other tier 7 battleships with 14-inch guns. And I think I played one game in this for a comparison. I think I played a game in the Poltava for comparison. This actually ended up being an okay game, but partly it's because of the matchmaking. It is a tier 8 game, but there aren't any tier 8 battleships. So yeah, there's actually not that many big scary guns for me to worry about. And the tier 8 carrier is a German one, which means it's really only the AP bombers which are any kind of concern for me. It's a standard game as well, so never my favourite, but I'm actually going to get to push a bit, just because the one destroyer that is on this side doesn't last for all that long. Excuse the noises if you can hear that, by the way. There was a cat on my desk, and now he's not on my desk, because, of course, he has excellent timing like that. I do have lots of broadside things to shoot at here, though, so that might work out nicely in my favour. But I'm also being a bit cautious about things that might shoot me back, because this, I mean, it's got a good turning circle, but it does not have the improved energy retention that I think, is it the Arizona has, or the New York? I can't remember. I think one or two of the premiums still have it, but it was, of course, removed from the tech tree battleships that had it, which I think were New York, New Mex, and of course Colorado. I really don't know why Wargaming did that. I know I was a bit befuddled by it at the time, but yeah, it just contributes to how slow and sluggish this thing feels. Of course, since this came out, we've also had the Oklahoma released, which absolutely takes the crown of the worst premium US battleship. Maybe just the worst US premium that isn't like, I don't know, the Smith or something. But this is still definitely not a great ship. You just don't see these being played. It's usually a good marker of popularity as to how regularly you see certain ships. And I mentioned the Poltava. There's another one you just do not see played very often. I'm sure if I looked up the battles played stats, it would probably reflect that, or the publicly available stats anyway. I don't know if those are going to be super reflective of Wargaming's own numbers, but anyway. So time to very slowly push forwards. Both the enemy destroyers are dead at this point, in fact, and the other flank looks pretty solid. Unfortunately, however, the other chunkier bit of firepower on this flank, the Nagato, is being heavily focused right now. They're probably not going to last too much longer. This is actually a last patch game, so that's since been buffed. It's now got a 29-second reload instead of a 30-second reload. Which, honestly, any buff to the Nagato is welcome. But, of course, California has an even longer reload than that because reasons. We're going to give you a small caliber of gun and a long reload, and we're going to put it on a slow ship that actually has worse torque protection than California, and also, did we mention it's very slow? So, fun! It's not a fun ship, no. I can't even unironically, or no, not unironically, that's what I was trying to say, pretend that there's much that's good about this. Even in a good game like this one, this was still a bit of a teeth-grinding experience. And it really was only the result and the fact that it ended up being a good result and the fact that you just don't see this ship that led me to saving this and recording it. Nice broadside on the hood. Will I get lucky? Well, fingers crossed. Not so much. You really do just need to absolutely persist, even in this matchmaking where there are no Tier 8 battleships for me to worry about. Those 14-inch guns are still a bit of a liability, especially with that reload. And I've also noticed, yeah, the rear turret angles ain't so good either. So it's not even like you get to use all of those guns that you have. And there are 14-inch gunned ships that actually have better reload and better rear turret angles. Hell, the Huger came out with a friggin' reload booster, and it's also faster. So, you know, this probably has got better armour overall, but the extra speed and range of the Huger and the better overall turret arrangement, I'd say. Yeah, it's definitely preferable, and even though if it isn't anything other than just a kind of solid ship, this is not. Well, I mean, it is stolid even, but in the way that it's solid in that it just doesn't move very well. It's solid like an iceberg is solid. And there's some kind of extended metaphor in there about melting and HE firing cruisers, possibly. But anyway, painfully clawing my way up to 100,000. I have had a fair few broadside battleships to shoot at, but it's really only the cruisers that are giving me any kind of traction. So it's not like this has super accurate guns for being a 14-inch, caliber ship at this tier. And I don't think it's especially bad, but it's certainly nothing, there's nothing good about it. I think it is just the typical American dispersion. It was also, I'm going by memory here as well, I think it was also heavily requested during the CC testing that, why don't we have this with Massachusetts style secondaries, although it would be a bit of a limp gimmick in that you're so damn slow that you wouldn't really get to use them very often. But well, then the Oklahoma came out, which actually kind of did try and do secondaries at tier 5 with a really bleh ship. And actually, talking of secondaries at tier 5, of course, now we've got Agincourt to add to that pile as well, which is a bit better than Oklahoma, actually. I mean, it's still not great in a lot of respects, but it's still, I think, a ship that's a lot easier to have some fun with than the Oklahoma. Definitely taking a bit more damage at this point. I'm getting a little bit worn down. Approaching 100k damage though, which is not too shabby. There we go, just over. And just over 1 million potential as well. If you don't have the very, very big guns firing at you and lots of cruisers firing at you, it's not too bad. But yeah, this is not a ship that survives any amount of spam. HE spam particularly well. The enemy battleships I was firing at though, even when they were giving me broadsides, I was just not particularly getting lucky, and that's going to be even more evident the closer that this Leon gets. This Leon is going to end up being so incredibly lucky, especially considering the ranges we're going to end up closing to. So there's some torp bombers. Why did I struggle to think of the name there? Torp bombers going for that Cleveland. My AA has gone to do a little bit in this one, but the German planes aren't especially... What was that? The German planes aren't especially tough, so yeah, I don't know if this represents the AA on this ship very well, and even this game isn't going to turn out to be particularly remarkable feeling in terms of the number of planes shot down. There's supposed to be the one unambiguously good thing about this is the AA, but it's just really not worth a whole heap of beans these days. Now that looks better, and it was actually 3-hole pens, which was quite nice. But yeah, the only citadels I have all been against cruisers, because even a less than 10k Leon broadside apparently still can't manage to get any citadels with these guns. It really does feel, in terms of its gunnery, like a tier 6 that somehow wandered up to tier 7, especially with that reload. But of course, the AA is more like tier 8, I suppose. But yeah, I don't want to rehash the problems of this ship too much. I mean, I've covered the broad basics already, and I really hammered it at the time it came out. So, I don't know. It's more just been a refresher of people's memory than anything else, I suppose. So as we've been pushing up, my support has been slowly stripped away, and I've been hit a fair bit as well. But it does look like we're overall doing not too badly on this one. The other flank has also been forced back, but also with a lot of casualties. So it's just kind of been the case all over the shop. So there's that low health hood finally taken care of. And I was really expecting to have the Leon pop out on my starboard side, which would be the logical thing. You'd think they'd pop round the island and maybe try and get some shots, but as it turns out, no, they just kind of pulled to a halt and started reversing, and then managed to whack me for a whole bunch of damage head on with an even smaller caliber of gun than I have, but of course more guns. So let's see if we can get lucky at an even closer range than before. Will RNGesus be nice to me? Well, it's the California, so I'm going to tell you now. No. Absolutely no. I was thinking, okay, fine, this is it. This is going to be a paddling. Okay, I'll take a couple of torp hits. And 5 pens. So, you know, decent damage, but where are my goddamn citadels? This is absolutely play by an enemy battleship that should be punished, but he's got more guns and a better reload, so okay. Although, to be fair, a much more awkward turret arrangement. But honestly, if you asked me if I wanted to play this ship or the Leon, I would take the Leon all day, every day. Only 5k that time for 3 pens? I don't know. Sometimes the pen ribbons versus the damage you do, it feels very strange. And that's still not enough. Might actually be my secondaries that get in, but no, it's the York. So for all that time he spent sailing broadside in front of me at close range, I mean, I was able to get damage off him at a rather slow and painful pace, but I feel like most other battleships at this tier would have at least scored a citadel or two, unless the RNG was being particularly cruel to them, which of course is always possible. So this is just tidying up now. They've only got 2 ships left, the enemy Hugo and that Parseval, and the Hugo is well, within range. Parseval's not spotted, so we might as well try for them. Definitely not going to get any citadels at this range. I mean, it's not the most well-armoured enemy, but yeah. Do you have to do that right now, Sam? Do you have to? Okay, good to know. He says yes. He says yes, he does have to. Well, there we go, high caliber, but it's been a very long, painful journey to get the high caliber. 150k damage. I think this is without a doubt my highest damage game in this ship. Not that I've played many games in it. This was the first game I'd played in it in quite a long time. But, you know, for all that I have played in it, I don't think I'd have even gotten quite close to this. So, oh, come on! Seriously? Seriously, RNG? I mean, damage-wise, I've done pretty decently, but my word, even then, the guns feel like they've managed to troll me so hard at times. Okay, last chance for a kill. This Hyuga, who is valiantly trying to run away from everybody who's now shooting at him, and 3 over pens. Okay, come on, rear turrets, do the job, and there we go. And that nets me a Confederate with that final kill as well. And for enduring the damage that I did and surviving, I got a Dreadnought on top of it. What are you meowing about? What? What is meow meow meow? I don't know. I'm not paying him enough attention, clearly. So 2600 XP. A lot of that was down to the funky matchmaking, not having any tier 8 battleships to... to deal with. Cats. And I think for all that I've said in this video, still can't particularly recommend this ship. I don't think it's had any buffs since it was released. I think it would take a fairly substantial buff to make it worth buying in my eyes, and it probably will be quite a long time before I try taking it out into game again, because there are just so many other better ships to play. So that's it from me and Sam. Hopefully you enjoyed this video, and if you did, you can do all the usual things down underneath it, because it really does help the channel if you do. And of course, as always, stay tuned for more.